that will change the industry more than they already have. Okay, so strap in because this is going to be a doozy. We've seen a lot of changes in the last number of years thanks to AI tools, devices, and I'm not just talking about large language models, but of course they matter too, and all the generative AI content type stuff, text, images, video, audio. Yes, there's that. But there are different kinds of tools, including hardware and software tools that are on the market and others in development that are likely to change the entire landscape. And as a marketer, you need to prepare for this because not only could your job be affected by this, of course, there's the fear that your job will be, given to an AI bot essentially, and you will be made redundant. Well, if you have that fear of losing your job, what you need to do is to lean into the technology and not fear it, right? Master it. Don't be fearful of it. You know, I remember in the '90s, people in marketing were um, many of them were hesitant to jump into the internet. They thought it was a fad. And I was helping to run the Association for Interactive Marketing. And we were telling people this internet thing's not going away. You need to be prepared for it. You need to lean into it. There's interactive TV. There's interactive, internet content. There's this whole interactive world where you're connected through the internet. This is all going to change everything, and it sure enough did, obviously. And it's really no different now with the whole world of AI. Just like 10, 15 years ago, Bitcoin and crypto changed the world in terms of fiat and currency and all that stuff, and it's still making that change. It still hasn't been fully adopted yet, but it is rising rapidly. And also AI, you think, wow, AI is taking over everything. You ain't seen nothing yet, man. We're at the very AI's been around for decades, okay, just so you know. But we are just now at the very, very beginning. I mean, the very, very beginning. Like the last few years since these things became quote unquote popular in terms of large language models, we've seen an explosion of artificial intelligence technologies and solutions come online. And we're literally during the gold rush, you know, messing around and discovering stage. If you have an idea of a product or a service that you think could be made better with AI, well, this is literally the gold rush time. Like venture capitalists are chomping at the bit to get something with AI in it. If you have an actual MVP and you haven't raised any funds yet, and your MVP includes some kind of AI technology, and all you need is a little bit of funding to go to market with it, there's no shortage of venture capitalists looking for AI tech. You might think, oh, it was a fad 2 years ago. Now it's already a thing of the past. No, it's not. It's the amount of money going into AI, just like the amount of money going into crypto and Web3 and crypto payments. It's available, right? It's significant and growing every year. Investors are looking to put money into that. Now, does that mean that there are no AI projects that will fail to get funding? No, there's actually a bunch. And I've worked with a bunch of companies who they had people looking for funding, and in the end, they couldn't secure the funding because of other market forces, right? Like the product market fit wasn't right for the investors that were being negotiated with, or the investors decided to invest in something else instead, or whatever the reason was, the product wasn't ready. And there's a million different reasons why different companies that I worked with in the last few years that had some kind of AI component or crypto component, but mostly AI, really, have not been able to secure funding. The most important critical thing you need when you're making an AI product is to make sure, right, that you can actually deliver what you say. So let's say you make an amazing discovery and you figure out something that can solve 10,000 problems, and it really, really can, right? And it can solve those 10,000 problems extremely well, right? Well, what should you actually focus on in your pitch deck? What should you actually focus on in your MVP? Should you actually try to make a product that's going to actually solve those 10,000 problems? Or should you make a product that does one thing or an incredibly small number of things compared to the 10,000 things that it might be able to do, right? Should you make it just, it can do one thing exceedingly well, leagues beyond anybody else, and there's not even a question that it's a better solution for that one thing than any of the nearest competitors. And then later, as you make later versions and you've already gained market traction and you've proved the concept with that one thing, even though you're dying to let the world know it does these things too, right? You don't tell them at first. You just keep it to yourself, even if you patent it and whatever. You don't market that fact, right? You keep it to yourself. Eventually, when you make the next version and the next version and the next version, slowly but surely, you release these other amazing capabilities that it can do, or maybe you make entirely different products that each do those things separately, right? Because again, Swiss Army knives are great until they're not. What do I mean by that? Let's say you have a Swiss Army knife with, like, I don't know, 50 different things on it. A knife, a saw, a tool, for like whatever, a loop, a toothpick, a tweezer, a spoon, a fork. Who the hell knows? They got everything on those things these days. They got like 50 things, a Leatherman type of knife, right? They got so many different things, multi-utility knives. They look fantastic. They seem amazing. It's like, wow, it's an all-in-one, all-purpose tool. It's great. Just buy this and you're done. You don't have to buy any more tools. Screwdriver, hex nuts, Phillips head, whatever. They got it all. And then you realize, well, okay, it's really cool looking, and it does maybe have a decent knife and maybe a decent pair of pliers, but like the saw might not be so good, or the whatever, right? The corkscrew might not be so great, or whatever it might be. There's all a bunch of things that, and you can say, well, Victorinox is a very high quality product. Okay, there's a lot of knockoffs too, right? And people buy them, and they're not so great, and they might break. And even the Victorinox brand, what, you've never had a Swiss Army knife blade break on you? It happens, right? Even Leatherman, what, you never had a Leatherman fall apart in some weird way? It happens, right? And I'm not saying they're not great devices. They are great devices for certain things. But generally speaking, general skills are not like specialist skills. And we live in an age of specialists. Like, I grew up as a generalist, doing many talented, a man of many hats, right? Jack of all trades, master of none. I spent many years doing that. But in the end, you realize, okay, the market that we live in, whether you like it or not, and yes, it's important to have generalist skills because everyone does, but you really need to have specialist skills to become a so-called expert in any one particular thing or any number of things. And the same is true for marketers in the world of AI, okay, or people marketing AI products in a world where there's increasingly more and more AI products and services. You need to lean into the specialist culture. You don't go to a doctor that treats bones to see you about your cold, right? You don't go to a doctor who specializes in headaches to talk to them about why you have a a hangnail in your toe or something, right? Go to the specialist that focuses on the need you have, because you're going to get the best treatment there, the best solution to your problems, right? That's the general idea, right? Why do you go to a geologist to talk to about earth stuff, rocks and minerals, and you don't go to you know, a boat captain for that? Boat captain might be really great at navigating boats around the world, but unless he's a geologist, he's probably not going to be able to tell you much about the rocks and minerals that you're concerned about, right? It's the same concept, you know. And even a boat captain is a specialist in being a boat captain. You know, you're not going to go to a generalist, a sort of jack of all trades, who might know how to sail a boat. He might even know how to captain a boat, you know, but he might not. He's probably not going to be the best at it, because if he's a generalist, he does a lot of different things. So yes, a generalist is good for managing certain things. A generalist can be a good leader. A generalist can be a good team builder. When it comes to actually specializing in a specific skill, or being an expert, a so-called expert in one particular technical kind of task, generalists are not usually seen as being as adept or expert as specialists. And we live in a specialist world, whether we like it or not. We live in a world where specialists are sought out more for their skills, which of course pigeonholes people, which of course makes a lot of people feel not valued as highly as they could be, because you have more skills than just what a specialist job requires. But that's the reality of the world we live in, right? And there's nothing wrong with that, in the sense of, you know, accepting the reality of the world we live in. It's not evil or something. It's just that is the reality. The market demands specialists, right? The market wants specialists. The market is looking for people who are expert at one particular thing, in order to get the results from whatever the specialists are working on, right? As opposed to the generalist working on it. So, in that same capacity, there are products in the marketing space that are coming online. If you're in marketing, you probably know what they are. And, you know, a lot of it is client management tools, CRM tools that are using AI, not just to write letters and funnel mails and stuff like that, but actually to manage a lot of other aspects of your client relationships, your prospect relationships, like building prospect databases, building leads, setting appointments, etc. A lot of different aspects of marketing, writing messaging. Sure, that's a text-based sort of generative AI, LLM kind of thing, but there's a lot of fine-tuning skills that go into that, which LLMs and specifically AIs built specifically for marketing are getting better at. Um, you know, document creation, contract creation, all that kind of stuff. It's getting better and better with AI over time. And as marketers, we need to lean in to those changes, because those changes are inevitable and they are shaping the entire industry, whether we like it or not. You know, they are literally shaping the industry of marketing, and they're shaping the products and services available to everyone, uh, which is why it's important to lean into the changes and be with the times, man. Okay, that's going to do it for now. Happy marketing. Talk to you guys later. Peace.